Sullustan frozen in carbonite. On that desk is a blaster, a collection of quills and a cup, a bottle of ink. The room features only one other piece of furniture. A tall black cabinet, sealed tight with a maglock.
I didn't,
Temmin says.
It was an accident. I didn't know.
He's yanked up off his feet. The Herglick does the lifting. Surratt stands there in front of him, pursing his lips, almost as if he wants to kiss the air. The Sullustan gangster runs an index finger under his own cheek flaps, flicking dirt away with thumb and fingertip.
You are lying to me, boy. And even if you are not lying, what does it matter? You have slighted me, and that slight must be repaid in kind. Otherwise, how would that look?
It will look merciful.
The Sullustan grabs Temmin by the throat. He squeezes. The blood starts to pound in Temmin's temples as he wheezes and gurgles, trying desperately to catch a breath. His whole face starts to throb. Blackness drifts in at the edges of his vision like pools of spilled oil.
The only mercy I have ever had was a Corellian slave girl. She was nice to me. I was nice to her. Mostly.
Then the criminal overlord lets go. Oxygen rushes back in through Temmin's burning throat. He gasps and coughs, spit dangling from his lip. The Herglick kicks him in the back of the knee, and Temmin falls once more. And with his arms behind his back, the best he can do is take a hit on his shoulder so his head doesn't snap against the hard metal floor.
Let me tell you who I am,
Surratt says.
So you know what I can do. I killed my own mother for daring to speak back to me. We lived in a wind harvest tunnel on Sullust, and I threw her into the blades. When my father found out, he of course wanted to hurt me, like I hurt her. But my father, he was a soft, pliable man. He tried to hit me, and I cut his throat with a piece of kitchen cutlery. It was my brother that proved the greatest challenge. We fought for years, back and forth, from the shadows. He was ruthless. A worthy challenger, Rutar was.
The Sullustan nods sagely, as if lost in memory. Suddenly, he perks his head up and nods.
That's him, there.
He points to the desk.
He's the one frozen in carbonite. Some say I learned that trick from the Empire, but I assure you, they learned it from me.
Please,
Temmin says, bubbles of saliva forming and popping on his lips.
give me a chance to make it right. I can repay you. I can be in debt.
The question is, what can I take right now? An ear? A hand? My brother took my eye in our final battle.
Surratt cocks his head so that the Sullustan's one milky, ruined eye is pointed right at Temmin.
And that has become my way. My foes must leave, having given something vital. Not just money. Credits are so crass. But something necessary. A piece of themselves offered and taken. What do you offer?
Not that. Not that. You can take my shop. You can have my droids. I'll give you back the weapon, anything. Let's talk it out. We can talk this out, can't we?
Surratt sighs.
I think the time for talk has passed.
And then he thrusts his finger up in the air, and a big smile parts his strange face.
Ah, yes. You do love to talk, don't you? I shall take your tongue.
Temin gets his legs underneath him, tries to stand as he cries out in anger and fear. The Herglick knees him in the side and knocks him down. The slick-skinned brute laughs. Surat says,
Golkuda, take him to the cistern. I will get my things.
Then Surat saunters over to his cabinet. He pulls back a sleeve and reveals a bracelet, then waves the bracelet over the maglock. It pops. As Gorkuda, the Herglick, drags Temin out of the room, kicking and screaming, Surat removes a long surgical gown and begins to put it on, humming as he does. This doesn't seem essential.
It is.
He's not our problem.
They're going to cut out his tongue.
Oh, now you have a soft spot. I thought you only helped those who were, how did you put it? Useful.
The boy is useful. I believe he can furnish the repairs on my gun. Otherwise, I would leave him to his fate. Would you?
Sinjir flinches at that. Again, the questions hit him. What kind of man am I? Am I capable of walking on past? Am I different now? Or the same? He changed that day on Endor. Something turned inside him. The short, sharp shock of losing everything made him a new person. But to what end? Who is he now? A coward? Or someone bigger? Someone better? The two of them crouched down in the tunnels below the Alcazar, Surat's cantina and criminal compound. After the bounty hunter hauled him up out of the dungeon he found himself in, they crept through this space looking for a way out. And there they happened upon voices in the other room. Surat, as he abused and threatened some young kid. The shuffling of the Herglick's feet approaches. With it come the boy's grunts and bleats, plus the echoing sound of his feet kicking the floor and the walls as he struggles to escape. "You first!" Jazz hisses in Sinjir's ear. Then she shoves him out in front of the Herglick. The Herglick, a huge shiny creature, tiny eyes and a massive head. No neck, tiny teeth and a massive maw. No chin. The Herglick says. Sinjir winces, then stabs out a foot to catch the beast in the knee. A common weak point among most humanoid beings. But it's like kicking a tree. Thud! The Herglick just looks down, then snorts. The alien lets go of the boy's bound wrists and grabs Sinjir with both hands. Hands big enough to tie a speeder bike into a pretzel twist. But slippery hands too. And Sinjir slides out of the grip and quickly goes for another weak point, the monster's throat. He flips around, trying like hell to get his arms around the creature's neck. But, oops, no such neck exists. The Herglick chuckles, then jams his massive frame right, then left, each time smashing Sinjir into the wall. Wham! Wham! Sinjir sees stars. His brain shook up like a cocktail. A voice, her voice, the Zabrax. "The nose!" she says. Then thrusts the heel of her hand forward, smashing it right into the Herglick's nose. The alien howls, his eyes squeezing shut. Some kind of saline slime snot begins pouring out of his nasal perforations, and the poor lug slaps at his snout like it's on fire. "Get the boy," she says. Sinjir slides around the hulking bulk of the Herglick's frame and helps the boy stand. The kid looks like some ratty street punk. Tan skin, hair up in a messy knot. Someone here has worked him over pretty good. Blooms of bruising on his cheek, a split lip. "Rescue party," Sinjir says, offering a stiff smile. Then he shoves the boy forward, out of the range of the Herglick's meaty, blind pawing. The kid looks at the bounty hunter.
"I know you,"
he says.
"We'll get into that,"
she says.
"We need to go, now."
This is her life. This is the life of a bounty hunter. It never comes easy. Many try. They pretend at doing the work, but aren't ready for what awaits.
Because the job never comes easy. You think the job to extract some foreign bookie who's been stealing from the Empire is going to be a cakewalk. And it turns out he's got 6 squid-head egg-brood brothers and sisters who look just like him. Another job comes, and that one seems easy too. All you have to do is kill some soft-handed Black Sun accountant. But then, it turns out there's a bounty on you. And next thing you know, you're trussed up in the cargo bay of a ship belonging to that slovenly leperhead Dengar, all while your prey has hightailed it to the far corners of the Outer Rim. You think, yes, I'll kill this spunky rebel princess warrior like the Empire wants. But then you watch the rebels turn the tide, and you realize the winning side isn't the winning side anymore. And if you want to survive, you damn well better change your skin or just plain disappear. You think, I'll just take out Arson Crassus. One shot. Boom. And then you realize he's sitting there in a whole nest of Imperials. High-ranking players with big bounties. And next thing you know, you're falling. Your gun breaks, and a local gangster with delusions of grandeur forces you to bust out of his prison and out of his cantina. But when you go upstairs and plan to head right for the door, you see an Imperial officer standing there with a quartet of stormtroopers and another cadre of Surat's thugs, not to mention the ones that will probably be coming up behind you any second. Because you just escaped their prison. And because you just released another couple of prisoners too. The job is always complicated. It's never as easy as it seems. Even the hard ones always end up harder. But this is the life Jazz took for herself. And she's learned to handle it without panic. Or at least without letting that panic out of its cage. Fear can be a strong motivator, provided you control it rather than letting it control you. The cantina and the gambling house is full, even at this hour. Fuller now than it was earlier. A haze of smoke hovers in the air. So thick you could grab a handful and form it into a ball. The sound of the room is a low roar. A din of voices yelling, cards shuffling, knuckle dice clattering against tables. There, off to the side, a small doorway out, probably into an alley. The shame door, they call it. You get too drunk on ski, you lose your pants at a game of Kessel Wheel, you meet a new friend and don't want anybody to see you leave, you head out the shame door. Or maybe you're ushered out quietly by Surat's men. No good to just throw those people out on the street. That tends to have a chilling effect on anybody wanting to come in through the door and spend their credits. Thing is, the shame door is always guarded. Tonight, by an Ithorian with one side of his hammerhead swaddled in a bandage, the wrapping covering one eye. Jazz doesn't tell the others the plan. She just points and moves. They follow after. The Ithorian grunts as he sees them come up. The alien gurgles at them in the Ithorian tongue, waving them off. But then his one good eye widens. He recognizes them. In Basic, he says, "Hey!" Jazz hooks the inside of her leg around his tree trunk limb, spins around him like he's a pole, and uses the momentum to smash the side of his head into the wall. His other eye shuts, and he topples like a felled ash sap tree. Sinjir goes to